Hey guys, hold on 1 second. There we go. We're gonna get this together right now. Hold on. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to my channel. My name is Cerise Fairfax, and today we are not at Terra Linda. Well, it, the weather kind of turned a little bit differently today. So I decided to stay in my apartment and do the video today from my apartment, which is amazing because lately I just been wanting to stay in. I hope you guys are all doing well. Again, my name is Cerise Fairfax. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I do videos on all different topics, but mainly on real estate and relocation and tourism and travel and story time. I just recently started two new channels on YouTube here, and I have one called Biz Mindset Coach, where I teach people how to start their businesses and do well. And right now, I'm just doing a lot of shorts on there, just to kind of give you information on logos and websites and, hashtagging and all that good stuff so you can understand more about doing online business. I've been doing it for many, many years now, and this is free information for you guys. So I would encourage you to go on that channel and learn a little bit every day. The videos are not going to be long. Right now, they're only 1 minute videos, and it will give you a lot of information in 1 minute for you to know about businesses. All right, let's see. I can see something here. Hey, Keith, how you doing? Keith, Hannah, and La Casa. So, and yeah, guys, I also launched another channel, and it is called Cerise Mindset Soul Coach. And I talk a lot about soul coaching and, getting you guys motivated just to live better lives and just have more productive lives. But I'm still going to do Motivation Mondays on this channel. Tomorrow I have a video coming out on Motivation Mondays, and we have JJ Kaboom. Guess who stepped in the room? What's up, JJ? Nice to see you guys here. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I'm just going to, hop on and talk about a couple of topics, some pressing topics. One of them is one of the new series that I have going on my YouTube channel, and it is getting quite a lot of attention in regards to a lot of working girls contacting me and me getting a lot of WhatsApp messages from men. And I'm going to get into that right now. The series is called, well, it started out as Diary of a Working Girl. And then it was like about, maybe about a week and a half ago, I put up a video and somebody commented and said, this story is boring. And I was like, yeah, but the next story is not going to be. So the same day I released another video, and it was Dark Side of a Working Girl. And so I realized that there needs to be two different categories, because one category, it may seem a little dry. It may seem a little, laid back and boring to some people who are really looking for that grab drama story, and I get that because I like shocking drama stories too. But Diary of a Working Girl was basically just, brought out to talk about the working girls and how they even started working the streets in the first place. Just like interesting content, just stories. But then some of the girls started to contact me with some very serious, heavy topics, not just about how they became a working girl, but some very heavy topics. The one that I released yesterday was, quite interesting. I got a lot of WhatsApp messages from guys for that one. I'll just kind of give the synopsis of it right now. There were two girls. They call themselves party hour, like happy hour, 2 for 1 type of thing. And they would always go out together. And one of the girls had a cold, like a flu one night, and their rent was due. And her friend was like, no, 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 I'm going to go out. You rest. And she did go out. When she did go out, she, got a regular a guy that usually, is freaky deaky with the both of them. Usually nothing too serious, but he ended up tying her up. He ended up blindfolding her, and he ended up putting something way far up into her private part, and it snapped off and it got broken in her cervix, and she ended up passing away. And then he ended up almost dying himself. So that's more of a dark story because it has a lot to do with, life and death, and it has a lot to do with freaky deaky stuff and everything like that. Now, even on that story time, I was not able to go in too deep and dive too deep either, because there's only certain things that YouTube really wants us to talk about with certain topics, and they do really censor a lot. And so I don't want the stories being censored. I do want the working girls to be able to get their stories out there. Um, it's not just for the ladies. Let me see here. We have VJack. I'm supposed to be out there right now. Oh, VJack, why aren't you out here? And then JJ says, damn. And so, the ladies that actually, a lot of them are healing from these series. And there's only been a handful of stories out so far, but these ladies have been feeling pretty good about it. They read all the comments. And so now I got a whole slew full of other women contacting me. And some of these women are veterans. Some of them aren't even working girls any longer, but they have stories from like time, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Some of these girls are now, some of them already made it out of the country. There's one woman that contacted me, and right now she's living in Italy. And she has a whole story. I'll be putting that one up. There's another woman that contacted me, and she's living in Spain. There's another woman that contacted me. She's living in New York. Then there's some of them that contacted me. They're still living right here in the Dominican Republic, but all around the island, and they all have stories. Some of them are married off. Some of them, one is, her life is quite mangled and messed up. And she messaged me to pay for her story. These women, I'm not paying for any of their stories. I'm not doing anything. This is just a way for them to heal, a way for them to get things up off their chests. I am not trying to get involved with money. I'm not trying to get involved with anything of that nature. I'm sharing. That's it. And this one girl, she contacted me and she's like, hi, I heard that you're doing, stories for working girls. I have a story for you. And I was like, all right, just send it to me. And she's like, okay, well, where are you going to meet me? And I said, no, 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 no. I don't meet you anywhere. You have to leave it for like a voice note for me on my WhatsApp, and I will write it out. And she's like, well, I don't want to leave a voice note because I don't want anyone to hear my voice. And I said, I'm very confidential. I'm never going to let anyone hear this voice note. I delete it as soon as I hear it. I write all the notes, and I need you to leave a voice note so I can hear you, hear your expressions, and get a feel for your personality, because I read it back as like I'm that person. And she's like, yeah, but where do I pick up my money? And I'm like, what money? And she's like, aren't you going to pay for this story? And I said, no, I don't pay for these stories. And she's like, oh, well, my story you'll want to pay for. And I'm like, well, no, because I have quite a lot of really cool stories already in the catalog. And to be honest with you, all the stories that I have right now, I could do like 10 months worth and not even need another story. And she was like, oh, well, my story involves, and she started to tell me what her story involved. And I said, no, 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 don't go any further, because I'm not going to give you any money. This is for healing purposes. And she said, well, she still hasn't healed, and she's not looking to heal. She's not on the streets any longer per se, like how she once was, because men don't want her any longer. She looks like a hot mess, and she is she's older now, and her life is, well, put it this way. A lot of you guys have probably already seen her around Sosua, and you guys that are veterans, some of you probably already saw her many, many years ago, and you're probably surprised that she's still alive now. Like you'll see her every now and again, and you know, she can't be a call girl any longer. She can't be a working girl any longer because men do not want her. They're afraid to even touch her. Like, I shouldn't laugh, but it's true. You know, one day I was sitting at the Italian restaurant down by going down towards the beach. And I was sitting there and I was just chilling. I was having, you know, a little glass of wine. And, you know, she comes up to the window and she's like, hey, you know, and she's not always in Sosua. When she contacts me, sometimes like she's in Santiago, you know, but in any case, she came up. I don't want to say too much about her and where she goes because you guys are going to catch on to who she is right away. And I don't want this to turn into that. But she came up to the window and she's like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then this guy walks by and he's like, hey, Cerise, I watch your channel. Good job. Keep up the good work. And he looked at her and he's like, excuse me. And she looked at him and she's like, hey, Poppy. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not interested. And she's like, oh, you're not interested? And he's like, no, I'm not interested. And she went, what's that? And she went to touch his chain and he's like, oh, no. And I was like, ah. And she looked at me. She's like, he's rude. And I'm like, well, don't be touching people's stuff, you know? But she does look pretty dried up and the streets really got her. And, you know, a lot of the substance abuse and all that stuff, like just so much has really changed her. And so all of the, she's pretty much like maybe out of all of the girls, there's maybe two of them that are you know, like, you know, junkies from back in the day. I'm trying to say the proper words so YouTube doesn't flag anything. But yeah, so some of these stories are so serious and they're so detailed, and I cannot do them justice on YouTube. Not even on membership YouTube, because on membership YouTube, like they still get quite dark and I have to give like a lot of details and stuff like that. So in the process right now of doing my Patreon. I do have a Patreon, but I haven't done any videos there yet. Just give me some time and I will put them there, and they're going to be pretty graphic. Like for instance, the story yesterday, it gets pretty graphic, you know, because the girl who actually passed on, she told her friend what happened in the bedroom. You know, her, because she went back home and her friend tried to take that little piece, not little piece, long piece of something out of her. Her friend like put her fingers inside and tried to take it out and she couldn't. She said she kept feeling something sharp, right? It was just like snapped right in there. But this is what I wanted to talk about now. So the ladies, they're getting healing. The ladies, you know, they're talking. They just want to get it off their chest. They want to share. Some guys, and I can't fault you guys because a lot of you guys are curious. A lot of you guys have good hearts, but then some of you guys are real, like, winners. Let me just say it like that. So some guys are contacting me and they're like, Cerise, can you please connect me with that girl? I want to send her a gift. That's a no-go. Guys, I'm not doing that at all. This is confidential, and these girls are not looking for anything. Then some guys will contact me and they'll be like, Cerise, I think this girl did that to me. Can you tell me what she looks like? And I'm like, no. And he's like, this one guy, he's like, Cerise, I'm going to tell you what she looks like. And he's like, I don't come to the Dominican Republic any longer. I'm just talking about years ago. I'm married now. I have children. I'll never go back to Sosua. My wife won't let me. But I'm just curious because I think the girl, the wallet snatcher, the story that I put out about wallet snatching last week, he's like, I think that girl snatched my wallet. And I'm like, well, there's nothing we can do about it now. And he's like, well, I'm sure it's the same girl. Can you just tell me? He's like, I'm going to give you the description. All you have to do is say yes or no. No, I'm not doing that either. That's not the purpose of these stories. And then other guys, of course, the real winners, they will contact me and they just want to, talk to the girls. One guy told me that he is a counselor and he wants to give the girl free counseling. That is not going to happen either, guys, at all. Not at all. That's not going to happen. I'm going to be very confidential like I always am. I'm a soul coach before I'm a storyteller. And I've been soul coaching for so many years. And so I'm not going to talk about the ladies and their identities or even their ages unless they want me to say their age inside of the story itself. But no descriptions. Only thing I'm going to say is Haitian or Dominican only when the girls want me to. Actually, this week, Wednesday, I have one coming out of a working girl who is a foreigner. She's a foreigner. She came here and she ran out of money and she doesn't want to go back to her country where she came from. And well, I'll tell you, she's a French Canadian. She's French Canadian. And she ran out of money here and she does not want to go back to Toronto, to Montreal. She wants to stay here, and so she tried to work in certain restaurants. She's tried to work and just in certain bars and stuff of that nature. And she ends up drinking. She ends up getting herself in problems, and she ends up taking more money from the cash register than what she's supposed to. So she gets let go of very quickly. She did her whole entire circuit of like upper bars kind of thing, like foreigner bars and foreigner restaurants. And they kept catching her. And then so finally she had to go down the totem pole to the point where she was working for just, small bars, small Dominican restaurants and stuff like that, not really getting tips. And so she ended up becoming a working girl. And she's a working girl right now. She's still here and she has some stories as well. So you see a lot of these working girls, they don't just have one story. So dark side of a working girl is going to be multiple stories, probably from like some of the same women. But then, just diary of a working girl is going to be based upon how the woman became a working girl. And that's Wednesdays. Wednesdays, we talk about how the woman became a working girl. And I like those stories as well, too. I mean, drama is always nice and everything like that. But I really like the stories about how a woman became a working girl because it goes from like their childhood and what traumas they went through, what challenges they went through, all the trials and tribulations. And then it gets to where they are now, or how they got out of the game. And I find that very interesting because I like a little bit of, trail. And so, yeah, let's see here if we have any messages here. Yes, expat says, "Hey, from the floor to the ceiling." What's up, my queen? Hey, how you doing? I need to contact you for an apartment. Absolutely, expat. VJack, starting job training for a much better future. So I guess this will help me. Yes, help you even more. That's it. And then Jackson Jeter says, "Damn." Yes, guys. You know what? Pat, what was it? Sorry. VJack. And then Keith says, "Listening." VJack, you know what? Sacrifice now. Get that job. Work. You can always come to the Dominican Republic. It's here. It's waiting for you. But focus on things now so you'll be able to have a substantial future. And then you can come here and stay even longer. So it's good that you sacrificed your vacation. And then you can always come later. So yes, guys, the working girl stories are amazing. But I just want to tell you guys, all due respect, I know some of you guys do want to send gifts to these girls because even yesterday, after yesterday's story came out, I had so many men contact me, just bleeding hearts for this woman, this working girl. And, they're like, "I want to send her a gift. I want to send her a gift." And I'm like, she's already married off. She's with a German man. She's happy. She has children. She doesn't want anything. She just wants to see your comments in the comments down below. This one guy yesterday said, on the comments, I forget his name now. I apologize about that. But he's like, "Cerise, like when this guy got beat up, and revenge was sought, did he know why he was getting beat up?" and he didn't know. And the reason why the working girl didn't say the other working girl's name is because she didn't want to get in trouble. They were planning on taking his life that night, beating him, but taking his life. And they didn't want to really say too much. And, they got caught beating him. And not only that, the reason when they got caught beating him, that's why they had to leave his place and take off. And that's how he ended up even going to the hospital. There's going to be so much more, to the story on Patreon when I start my Patreon. But she was like so happy that they didn't tell him exactly why they were beating him, because he would have been able to identify them, and he would have ended up telling on himself too. In the hospital room, he would have said, oh, blah blah blah, there was this girl that I had, and chances are he would not have gotten arrested, because a lot of working girls are not highly respected here, right? And this is going back 10 years ago anyway, when they weren't even respected at all. So, the working girl said that it was like they all got retribution for all of the girls. There's a lot more stories coming out, and a lot of the working girls are coming out of the woodwork, and they are telling on even some guys here. So there was one guy that I saw walking down the street with a working girl, and I know this guy. And so the woman and him broke up. I guess he got tired of her. And he was just like, oh, I'm moving on to another girl. And she came up to me and she's like, I want to tell the story. So I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that dirt. And I said to her, no, I know this guy. And she's like, I want to talk about what he was doing in the bedroom. And I want to talk about, and I'm like, no, this guy, I know this guy. Like, he's going to know that I know. And that's not fair. These working girl stories are not for me to beat up on people that I know. Like, and the story wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't bad like yesterday's story. She was just telling me about the guy, and, certain, like when she would go down on him, he'd be dirty, like down there. He didn't like to bathe very much and stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, that's your own business. That is not a working girl story. Like, that is a story time for another time, and and he's going to know that I'm talking about him. He lives here. I see this man on Pedro Clisante all the time. Like, I just seen him the other day at where Brooklyn at, so I'm not going to do that. And so I just want you guys to know too, that if you do have working girls and these working girls come at me and they are going to identify you and I know you, I'm not trying to expose you either at all. That's not what this working girl series is all about. So I am keeping everything compartmentalized as respectfully as I can, keeping the women confident, keeping the women's names confidential, and also keeping you guys and your identity confidential as well. Like, so I'm trying to get the stories that are not so current right now. Just more stories that maybe happened before I got here, or even stories that are maybe not so local, but if there is a story that does come out about you and I haven't met you, or if I did meet you and as soon as the girls, put it this way, as soon as the girls tell me the man's identity and I know him, I'm not trying to get myself into that circle. I have to look out for myself as well, hands down. I don't want to be angering any of these foreigners, and I don't want to be embarrassing anybody either. So I do want to make sure I make that clear to you guys. Just know that I'm being respectful of you. Unless, of course, you hurt a woman, like yesterday's story, and a woman ends up, like dying or whatever. I'm not even going to talk about that. I will, help her though as much as I can. But none of you guys that are my viewers do that anyway. I'll tell you something right now. Some of you guys could be freaky, whatever, freaky deaky, like Doja Cat says. But that is just what goes on in your own bedroom, and it's none of my business. Like there's quite a few things too that have been brought to my attention as well, that is very interesting. And I don't want to talk about it too much right now, but I don't want to talk about it too much right now. Um, I don't even know why I brought it up, but now I'm going to have to say something just to make sure that you guys, you know, I'm working on a story right now, but I'm being told not to touch it. It has to do with Haitians and them escape, like getting off the island in an illegal way. And there's something happening underground. And the story was brought to my attention. And so it's all to do with Haitians, the Haitian community. And so I I spoke to a few Haitians. You guys know I live around a lot of Haitians here. And I spoke to a few Haitians, and they're like, Cerise, don't touch it, you know, because for two reasons. One, this is a Haitian community matter, and it's none of your business. And they said, two, this is something that could prevent Haitians instead of help them. You know, I was asked to take on the story to help, but then a lot of the Haitian community has said to me that it's not going to help; it's going to hinder. And so that may I'm good. I'm going to do. I still have to. I feel like there's still something I have to do, right? Not get involved necessarily, not expose necessarily, but definitely do something on my television show to bring awareness and not to prevent anything or to, get people arrested or anything of that nature, but to just to give people a heads up, Haitians. So I just don't know how I'm going to do it, but I just wanted to tell you guys that. Look out for that coming in the future. I don't, I, it is what it is. But it's nothing like anything. Um, I can't get into it. I really can't. But it's just, um, it's none of my business, and I'm just keeping it that way. And I just want to say it because just in case any of the Haitians are hearing about this, I do understand that it's none of my business. There's a lot of things that happen when it comes to the Haitian community because, we don't understand a lot about Haitians when it comes to how trapped they are in Haiti right now. And then when they come here, Haitians have it very difficult. And I couldn't even imagine what it's like to be able to, have a cell phone, have the same features as what we all have, like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, all those applications, be able to go online and watch the rest of the world live lavishly and not be able to, all because of a crooked government that has been going on for years and years and that was actually made unstable due to other people from around the world. A lot of people are like, oh, that's just Haitians, or a lot of people are like, but it's not. This is something that is, I would say, becoming more and more genocide. It's just really saddening to me, and I have a lot of people here that are Haitians and also Dominicans that are my friends. And when people come here, they think that they're coming to Dominican Republic, but here in Sosua, and more specifically right here in Los Charamicos, it's like 50-50, like maybe even a little bit more. Maybe there's two Haitians to every Dominican, and then so I do see that there is a lot of Haitians that they're suffering. They're suffering. They're really suffering. I see it every day, and it's shocking to me. And even some Haitians from around the world that contact me for real estate, They'll even put down their own people. And it's like they escaped that environment, and they were able to make money, and they were able to, make a life for themselves. And they even criticize Haitians, so it's got to be really tough for a Haitian right now. Haitian women, Haitian men. And I just want to say that if you do know a Haitian here, and a Dominican too, look out for them. Give them love, say some prayers for them, send them, a WhatsApp message encouraging them. Maybe you don't have money yourself to send, or maybe you don't want to get caught up doing that either. But sending someone a prayer, sending someone, just some really good encouragement, inspiration, let them know this too shall pass, and that there's going to be some answers coming soon, is great. When I was speaking to a Haitian on the beach about 2 months ago, I said to them, something will change soon, because here in the Dominican Republic, this part of Hispaniola, the whole entire island, is split. There's Haiti and also the Dominican Republic on one mass of land, on one island. A lot of people don't realize that. And so the Dominican Republic now is building up. Real estate is getting like outrageously expensive. Rentals are getting outrageously expensive. I'm the person that was known to come to give cheap rent, and now some people are contacting me, accusing me of putting the rent up. And I'm like, how does that even make sense? A guy yesterday contacted me, and he's like, hey, Cerise, I'm looking for an apartment. And I sent him an apartment, and I told him it's 900 bed. And I'm like, yeah, there's like one bedrooms going for 900 right now. Like, like this is by the beach. You can walk to the beach. This is a brand new, I'm going to be putting it up on Tuesday, actually, guys. I haven't put it up yet. And I might put it up tomorrow, just a little clip of it. It's a pretty 2 bedroom. It's large, 2 bathroom. It's on the main floor. It's close to everything. And in Canada, this place would go for a good 3,000 a month. So, but 2 years ago, before the world changed, this would have gone for like about, I know I'm digressing off the Haitian topic to rentals, but I'll get back to what I was talking about. So, a few years ago, this place would probably be about 500 a month, 600 a month. Now it's 900. And this one guy is like, Cerise, I know you got to make your money, so I don't mind. But yeah, give me a good deal. And I'm like, dude, this is not about you. This is not only about you. Like, I'm not, like, if I could make an apartment back to the prices that they were before the world changed, that would be my thing to do, because I am that go-to girl. I am your girl that gets cheaper rent for you. I look for it. I will argue for you. Even sometimes landlords will say to me, 900. And I'll be like, does it have a pool? And they know what I'm doing. Now, and they say, Cerise, do you know that in Batte, the same place would go for 1,200? And, so I'm like, yeah, but it probably has a pool in Batte. And they'd be like, yeah, so it's a little cheaper because it doesn't have a pool. And then I'll say something like, is there a guard at the front? And they'll be like, no, there's no guard at the front, so I needle them, and then sometimes I have to come straight out and say to them, listen, there's no guard at the front, there's no pool, there's not even a jacuzzi, it's not even in the tourist district. What are you doing? You can't charge this much. I won't charge this much. And then they'll say, okay. And they'll put it down by 100, sometimes by $100. So I do still have that type of a voice to work with you guys and work for you guys. So don't think that if something is so expensive that I'm putting it at that price. Yes, there are foreigners that are doing that. 100%. But I'll tell you something, the market has changed so much in the last few months alone that even there will be someone that puts an apartment out on just out somewhere, like on the internet or whatever. And then someone else will contact the owner and say, can I promote that apartment for you? Which is genius. And these times, some of it's Dominicans, it's Americans, it's Canadians, it's Haitians, and they will put the price up about 300 bucks. And then they will contact me and they'll say, hey, I have an apartment, because they know that I'm the apartment girl. I'm the apartment woman. And they'll be like, I have an apartment. They'll send me photos. They'll send me everything. And I'll just put it up and I'll be like, okay, but then when the owners contact me, it's different, right? Because they're like, for instance, there's a one bedroom that I put up last week, pretty one bedroom. And it, has a nice black toilet and everything like that. It's 600 bucks a month, right? And that's good. One bedroom in Batay, in one of the districts that it has a restaurant in the front, it has a pool in the back, it has a bar out front, it has a concierge in the front. This is great. 600 bucks. That you don't hear about that. If it's only because it's from the owner. And that's it. But a lot of people these days are subleasing places, sub-renting places. Everyone's getting in on the good deals, and that's why the prices are going up as well. Okay, and here you don't need a real estate license in order to sell real estate. And so I even have some people contacting me for places, and I'm a broker and I help people find places. And some people contact me and they're like, hi, Cerise, I had to let go of 3 clients last week, 3 in 1 week alone. One of them, I actually had to give him a little piece of my mind, because he contacted me and he's like, hi, Cerise, I'm looking for a place. I want to buy a place, 200,000, and I'm working with your friend. And I'm like, you working with my friend? And he's like, yeah, but I don't want to put any bad blood between you and your friend. And I'm like, you mean the friend that I got to help you to get a rental apartment in Casa Linda? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right. And I'm like, well, that does feel kind of shady, because that is my friend. And I'm not expecting her to come back to me and say, hey, Cerise, that client you set me up with, well, he's now going to buy a place and I want to give you commission. I would never expect her to do that in a million years. Not at all, because she has to make her money as well. Right. So I would never expect that. But I would expect him to come to me and say, just a heads up or something. And then not only that, he said a whole bunch of other people's names too. And I said to him, listen, Sosua is way too small for you to be contacting all these real estate agents and all these other side people and then contacting me. This is like a cheese factory, and there's enough cheese for all of the mice, so to speak. Nobody's going to starve. Nobody's going to, go hungry. As long as they hustle and grind, they will succeed. But don't come to me and ask me for a house and then go to someone else and go to someone else and go to someone else. Respect the person who you're working with. Pick a real estate agent that you're working with, and then show them some houses that you like. Or tell me that you have a real estate agent and I will work with your real estate agent. I will. Your real estate agent and I will connect. And that way you're not pitting people against each other, because I don't get involved in all of that. I rather pull back. I have a lot of businesses going on. I have a lot of things that I'm doing, and I'm not going to be put in a position of seeming like I'm stepping on people's feet. There have been real estate agents working here and hustling way before I came on the scene. I stumbled on the scene because it was placed in my lap due to the fact that when I got here, I moved so many times and I learned so much about the industry very quickly. And I was like, wait, I see that there's a market here that I can tap into. As an entrepreneur, I took advantage of that, and I carried it on as a new hat to wear. But then I also quickly realized that it's a small industry too, and that we all chill out together on the same street half the time, Pedro Clasante, or we all know a friend that knows a friend. Back in the day, it's like we have 6 degrees of separation. Well, these days, and especially here in Sosua, it's probably like 1 degree of separation. So I definitely don't want to have anyone have a bad taste in their mouth thinking that I'm greedy or trying to take their business. The people that I work with, landlords that I work with, and real estate agents that I work with, I work hand in hand with them, and we all share. And so now it's to the point where I'm telling people that come to me, connect me with your real estate agent. I have listings from all other real estate agents, and some real estate agents will take a cut in their commission. So let's say a real estate agent gets 10% off something that they sell to you. Well, let's say they don't have a listing that you want, but I have a listing that you want. If you come to me and buy from me, and that person has already drove you all around the island, already put their heart, their soul, and their trust in you, and then you're like, they don't have what I want. They wasted their gas, they wasted their time, they wasted their energy, wear and tear on their car if they had to pick you up, and then you just come to me and you buy something from me, and then what? And then they find out in the end that you bought from me? That's not cool. So what I want you to do, and I'm not trying to be a teacher or a mother or, scolding you on anything. I'm trying to school you on something. What I want you to do is contact me and say, Cerise, this is my real estate agent that I'm working with, whoever it is. And then, even do like a WhatsApp group with us. You know how you can make a WhatsApp group? Make a WhatsApp group. And then when I find something that you're looking for, I don't mind cutting in my commission and giving a piece to your real estate agent, because your real estate agent wants to help you. Your real estate agent wants to see you happy, 100%. And I know that. Real estate agents here work very, very hard. And, you can be happy. But let a lot of people work together in unison for you and not behind your back. Because you do have to realize, too, if you're going to buy that property and then all of a sudden you want to rent it out while you're here, you don't know. You don't want anybody coming back at you later on and, renting out your place for the night and then destroying it because and I'm not saying that this will happen, but I'm just saying, there are people, if you're going to put it on Airbnb, they'll send someone in there to do something funky to your apartment because you didn't use their services and you let them down after they use their gas, use their time, use their energy and wear and tear on their car, and also all that hope that they put into you, and then you let them down. You definitely don't want anybody doing anything behind your back, so don't do anything behind anyone else's back. Let me work with your real estate agent. Have faith that, we can all come together and work together. Yeah, the real estate agent may not have the listing that you want, and I might. And yeah, the real estate agent may not get that 10% off the top that they would usually get, but they will get something off the top that I would love to share. And if I'm working with another real estate agent, then that means that commission gets split 3 ways. And if your agent says no, then trust me, maybe you should get yourself another agent, because your agent should be willing to work with me and work with other agents. We all should come together as one, but chances are your agent's not going to say no, because your agent will love to hold on to you and be appreciative to get a little cut of something, even though it's not their listing and it's only because you're their client. I think that's only fair. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a real estate broker. And so I deal with a lot of agents, and I deal with a lot of homeowners, and I don't get myself into one little corner of just being able to put blinders on and just, that's it. No. So I want to work with everyone together. Okay, so if you are a person that has a real estate agent and there's just something about your real estate agent that you're not feeling, but they've already did what they could for you, still give them a chance. Okay, unless they ripped you off or unless there's something that you don't want to deal with them for, something personally, that's something else. But I'm just saying, if they're a good person and they've done their best for you, then still chill with them. We don't have MLS here, but what we're starting here now is this. When I go to an agent, I will say to an agent, this is the person's name. And I will give the first name, last name, just in case that person already contacted them, because that happens quite often as well. A lot of people will they'll contact me and they'll be like, "Hey, Cerise, I see that you posted this, this video. I really like that place." And then they'll come to me and they'll try to get it cheaper. They want me to talk down the price with the owner. And one time, this guy, he came to me and he's like, "I really like that place that you put up." And I was like, "Okay, great." And he's like, "Can you get it for me cheaper?" And I was like, "I'll try." So I contacted the owner, and we went back and forth over and over and over again. And then I said to the guy, I'm like, "Hey, so you can make a payment and then you can do owner financing." This is what the person agreed to. The owner agreed to owner financing with a certain percentage down. And he's like, "Okay, how much can I put down?" And I said, "The person's asking for 50% down." And he's like, "Okay, do you think I can do 30% down?" And I was like, "Let me ask." So then I asked the owner, and the owner's like, "What is this person's name?" And so I told the owner the person's name, and the owner's like, "I'm talking to this guy every single day. Like, what is he doing?" So I was like, "Really?" So I contacted the client, and I'm like, "Are you talking to the owner?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not the owner of the property. Like, if you're talking to the owner of the property, then how do you think I'm going to be able to work some magic for you?" Right? It wasn't even logical. Right? And the guy's like, "Well, I want to work with you anyway. Like, I want to work with you anyway. And so you tell the owner that I'm your client." And I'm like, "I can't do that. You already contacted the owner before you contacted me." And he's like, "I don't care. Tell the owner that anyway. Tell the owner the only way I'm going to buy that property is if you represent me." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So then I did, right? Even as illogical as it sounds to me right now as I'm saying it, and it just didn't even sound logical. I contacted the owner and I'm like, "Hey, so the client told me that he wants me to represent him for your property." And the owner's like, "Okay, but Cerise, that doesn't even make sense." And I'm like, "I know." And the owner's like, what should we do?" And I'm like, "You know what? I'm just going to step out. Just give the guy whatever good deal you can give him. That's all I have to say." And the owner's like, "Okay." And I did. I stepped out and I stepped off, and he still contacts me for other little reasons and stuff of that nature. And I still work with him, and I still give him advice on other things and still have his back and everything like that. And I respect the fact that he still wanted to work with me, even though he was in contact with the owner and even though he wasn't going to get anything cheaper. He still he just wanted to work with me. He just wanted to be like, he said to me, he just wanted to feel like he was in my hands, under my wing. He just trusted me like that. And that felt good. So of course I still worked with him. And, so all these little stories are happening. And just back to what I was talking about now, just, with the prices going up here and real estate going through the roof and everything becoming like a dog eat dog world, community here. We all have to come together and work as one. And then, of course, again, when it comes to the Haitian community too, I think there's a lot of suffering going on there. And there's just a lot of people want help. And so I think just how we can help people is by, helping them, not necessarily even financially, but shoes, anything at all, anything at all. I know I always ask you guys to bring stuff with you, but it's true. A pair of jeans in China tienda costs 700 pesos, okay? Let's say 24 bucks, 700 pesos. No, not 24 bucks, 14 bucks. Okay. If I go into China tienda, that's like a Chinese retail store. So I go into China tienda and I buy myself a pair of pants for 700 pesos. For me, that's 14 bucks. That may not be a lot of money to you guys, and it's not a lot of money to me. But when I go in there and I just know that it, you know, Haitians and Dominicans are not going in there to just buy up the way that you and I would. I would go in there, buy a pair of jeans, buy a pair of shoes, buy, makeup, nails, supplies, and, whatever. Like, whatever. I go in there and do a little mini shopping spree, right? But you will see Dominicans in there. You rarely see Haitians shopping. I never see Haitians shopping in there. Never, ever. Only working in there. And I always give them a tip. They're always working in there. And when I go in there, there's a lot of them working in there. Like a lot of them working in there. Maybe about six working in there. And I don't know how much they're getting paid. I walk in and one of them will be assigned to you to walk you around. And they help me. They usually speak English too. And they'll help me. I'll just ask them, does this colored foundation look good on me? I'll talk to them in Spanish and English and throw some Haitian words at them that I'm learning on Duolingo. It's beautiful. It really is. And they love helping. And then afterwards, I'll slip them a little 100 pesos, and I'll just be like, here, take this. Don't forget to do that. If you go into China Tienda, the Chinese store, it's across from King's. For those of you guys who have been here before and you do know Pedro Clasante, the China Tiendas, you might not have even been in before, but go in there. You might find some really nice, cool products in there anyway. But there's one beside King's, there's one in front of King's, and there's one on the side of King's, like on the other side of King's. And it has that big sign that says Tienda on it, big yellow sign that says Tienda on it, Tienda. And, once you go in there, you're going to see a lot of Haitians working. And so if you buy something, throw them a little 100 pesos. It goes a long way and you wouldn't even know. Same thing with Dominicans. When you go into like a store or something like that, anywhere, you see them working, and they're serving you, give them a little tip. The prices are not so expensive and the kindness goes a long way. You'll get good karma for it. And not only that, when you need something else, you'll see. I mean, when people are almost dying trying to get themselves out of the country because they are trying to escape by you know by going to Puerto Rico, and stuff like that, and they're dying because they're trying to help themselves. The least we can do is throw them a little bit. I mean, so bring some t-shirts, bring some pants. They go so far. My friend, when we went to Cuba one time, he brought some of his clothes, but they were really used. And I was like, that's what you're bringing? Like, you're taking space up in your suitcase to bring those old clothes? I couldn't even believe it. And when we got there, the Cubans were even like, no, thank you. So I just want to also give you a heads up that Dominicans love to smell good. They love to look good. They like to feel good. Okay. So if you are coming here, don't think that your old hand-me-downs that you won't even wear any longer are going to be useful here. Because I even shop in the secondhand clothing stores here, and I get some really nice stuff in the secondhand clothing stores here. So the stuff that's really ratty and like really worn out doesn't even get sold in the secondhand stores here. It might get sold in a bin, like just in a bin for like 50 pesos or something like that. So don't insult people either. If you're going to come down, bring some nice, something that maybe a neighbor of yours doesn't fit any longer, or something that you don't fit any longer, but you still love and is really nice. Perfumes, nail polishes, makeup, anything of that nature. I mean, speaking of which, I have so much of it to give away right now. And I think just by all of us coming together and just helping, it's great. I want to have like a little gathering, of everyone just come and take everyone, but like they have to. I don't know. I'm still getting my idea together, and I want to do it near Christmas time. Not charity, nothing to do with charity, because I don't want to take money from people coming here. I don't want that. I don't want to be like, "Hey guys, send me, $20 each and I'm going to just go feed the kids down the street." None of that. But Tailor Made Dreams, he does do that toy drive. And he has the orphanage. But I mean, and that's amazing. That's awesome. That's great. And he also came here during the entire Dominican Republic was closed down and there were no tourists coming in and out. He also came right here to Los Charamicos and he gave food to families. And I'm talking about food from Playero, the grocery store, big packages of chicken and vegetables and everything. And that was so nice as well. And that takes money. It takes time to go shopping and it takes energy. So that is really kind too. But I'm not necessarily even talking about that either. I'm talking about like clothing, shoes, and La Puga is very popular here. Secondhand stores are very, very popular here. Um, there's something else that I want to share with you guys. If you can start a secondhand clothing store here, that would be smart. I have somebody that asked me before about a shoe store like Jordans and stuff like that. And I mean, that's all cool and everything, but they have all that in Puerto Plata. And not all of them are authentic, and Dominicans like real authentic things too. You'll see the girls walking down the street with some really nice purses, and some of them are knockoffs, but some of them you can't even tell. They're like, 4A knockoffs. Of course, they get them as gifts from their customers and stuff like that, and their long-term boyfriends and everything like that. And it's beautiful, but they also have pride, so don't think that some piece of clothing that your grandpa's not wearing any longer is going to suffice. Oh, hold on one second. We have Kevin Moore. Hey, Kevin. Then we have Virgil. I'm pretty sure that you made those little faces because of the guy that I was talking about earlier when he doesn't bathe. Dennis Strong. Cerise, can you weigh in on the recent developments in Ukraine? Let me get back to that. I don't know anything about it, but I will give my take on what I do know. Dennis Strong, I'm just now seeing this. Our goodie, Ola Cerise in the chat. Ola, our goodie, and Jackie. Hey, beautiful. Hey, beautiful. So I really don't know what's going on in Ukraine right now. The last thing that I heard was that it was just getting wiped off the map. And then I heard, well, I guess it wasn't the last thing I heard. That's the last thing. But what I've recently heard is that they took back 5 places back from Russia that was taken over before. So they're kind of making their comeback. And this is what I've heard. Now, I haven't really been doing much research on it. I'm usually that person that does a lot of that research. But I do feel right now that there is a higher thing going on, you know, a recession. And they're not telling us right now about the crash. Germany will be, I think it's $200 billion in debt in the next year. And Germany is like such a powerhouse. And they're using coal again. Well, they're using a little bit of natural oil and everything like that, but they actually have been using coal as well. Just and I do believe that one of the reasons, and this is not to knock Americans, you guys know I love you, but one of the reasons why America hasn't been going in full force is because they do know that it's going to benefit the world in the long run in their eyes, in regards to a recession. Now, in regards to a recession, there are a lot of people who will benefit from it. A lot of wealthy people will lose their money, but this is usually when the turning of wealth usually happens. Okay, so if you have a lot of investments and right now this is a time for you and you're like, well, this sucks for you because, you're seeing your crypto go all the way down to nothing. Hold on to it. I mean, selling it's not going to do much. I I just I have some crypto and I recently bought some Bitcoin. And I'm like, why did I do that? But I did it because it was a little lower. This is a time when the markets crash for the average person who doesn't really have a lot of money to invest in stock markets and stuff of that nature can now invest. And when I do my research on all of that, there are a few things that are really important. And obviously, gold and silver are always awesome because they cannot be put into paper, right? But silver is quite good because silver can be put into the average product as well. And, it can be used interchangeably. So I would say right now, put some money in silver. You can buy silver. You can buy silver right now for just 25 bucks even. So really do your research on that. If you do want more information on it, then check out my new channel because I will be talking a lot about business and a lot about investments. I'm not a financial advisor, definitely not a financial advisor at all, but I will talk to you guys about things that are predictions that I'm making and other people that I do research on, and also about business for those of you who want to start your own business. So that is Biz Mindset Coach. Okay. And it's on YouTube right here. I only started the channel last week. This week, I'm going to be bringing out shorts. I think I have like 3 videos up so far. It's really geared towards people who want to start their business and they don't know where to go. They don't know what a logo is, a mission statement, hashtags. They don't know if they need a website or not. Just very simplistic things and things you should know to help you out. But I will be introducing more and more things like, should you invest in crypto and stuff of that nature? And yes, you should definitely invest in crypto. But now, just back to Ukraine. Let me see if you responded here. Dennis says, I always wonder if we are getting real or fake news out of Ukraine. Oh, yes. Yes, everything. Listen, the only real news that you're going to get about the Russian war is from Russia Today. A lot of it is blocked from America. I don't know if you guys get RT, the website, Russian Today. If you don't get it, then go on India Today. It's on YouTube. I don't know if you guys will get it in the United States. It may be blocked from you, but if you guys can get one of those blocker things, I forget what the name is right now. But there's some places like there's some apps where you can visit certain websites with a mask. It starts with a V. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. I don't use it. But here I do get India Today. And India Today, I mean, what is it called? Grat, Graphis or something? It's an G something, but it's all my other cell phone's over there. So sorry, I don't. I'll put it down here in the comments at the end of the video. But there's a YouTube channel and they give it straight. Anything Indian, anything Russian, you're going to get the straight goods. Anything Ukraine, a lot of them, you know, the Ukraine works very closely with America, and also sometimes it's just clout. Sometimes it's just fluff. And this is nothing against Americans, nothing against Ukrainians, nothing like that. But sometimes they want to put it out there and say, this is happening, that's happening. And I'm not sure quite why they're doing that, but I think they're doing that in order for no backlash to come on America, and also so the recession can go along as planned, right? So they can say, oh yeah, everything, we're taking everything back, we're doing everything right now, and everything's good. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, Putin is just destroying everything and everyone. Putin has money. Putin has everything, the liquid gold, which is natural gas and oil, and there's just the world did not turn to solar as quickly as they should have. And not only that, Germany's going down. It just doesn't make sense. And then we have China. China right now is just, if you guys watch China in Focus, it's another YouTube channel. China in Focus will tell you all about what's going on in China, and they're doing lockdowns in like IKEA. People are in IKEA, and if someone gets like coded for, strange sniffly nose or whatever, bam, the whole entire IKEA gets closed down, and that is it. They're in a lockdown in IKEA. You guys got to watch China in Focus. It is just out of control. And I'm not putting down China either, because I get it. China is really trying to keep their numbers down. But, of course, they're being bombarded and set up a lot as well, especially with the monkeypox and then all the other stuff that's going on. China is a target because they're so wealthy, and, they are the world's factory, so to speak. And they really did become very, very wealthy because of all of the products that they're making, and all of the products that they're imitating, and all of the products that other parts of the world are not making, not even India or Bangladesh or anything of that nature. So China right now, I believe, is watching India, and they are like, China right now is watching Russia, and they're like, Putin got it. Putin got it. And then next they're going to go into Taiwan. China, not Russia. China will go into Taiwan. Why do I feel China's going to go into Taiwan? Because the SMPT, I think it's called, it is the company in Taiwan that makes all of the chips, the electronic chips. There's the largest company in the whole entire world that makes it in Taiwan. And even though they're not part of mainland China, China still considers Taiwan a part of them. And America doesn't consider Taiwan a part of China, even though the Taiwanese, they appear to be Chinese. A lot of them speak Mandarin. The Chinese they're going to just make their way in very soon. They keep testing the waters, and they keep floating in the waters, and they keep making their voice heard. But I think that they're trying to put some smoke and mirrors to make China look like they're out of control. And so if a country looks like they're out of control, and they look like they are not being able to, take care of themselves, then what? Obviously, they can't go in and invade another country, right? So it's like smoke and mirrors, I believe. I believe that they're just trying to make themselves seem like they're out of control, but they're definitely not as out of control as what they appear to be. They're a strong country. China is a mega power, and they are not going to go down like that. And the only way that they could go down like that is if they were to get bombed from America. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. And America is not about to do that. America is an empire. They like America, even though there's some stuff going on in what we call the matrix, there's still a certain civilized manner in which they like to behave in regards to the world power. And so, they control the West, and they don't want any problems in that way. But they do know that if China goes into Taiwan and they take over those chips, those conductor chips that control every single cars, everything that we rely on in order to advance in society, then they know that that's it. China will take over the world. And it's kind of silly to think that can be prevented. I don't think that can be prevented. Taiwan's like this little place just right there beside China. It's not mainland China, but it used to belong to China, and China's just going to go in and get it. Like, it just makes sense. And so I do believe that there's smoke and mirrors right now that China is putting up, and China is pretending to be a lot more out of control than what they are. But I do believe they are like the sleeping dragon, pun intended, and that they are just pretending, and then phew, They're going to go right in, and Russia as well. They're partners, and not partners in crime, but they are both communists in many ways. Well, Russia's not communist any longer, but there's that, um, that power, and both of them don't want to be controlled by America. Both of them have grown in and of themselves in quite magnificent ways, and both of them have been in existence way before the 200 and almost 50 years of America. Most empires like America only last 300 years. Most of them have a 300-year expiry date on them. China has gone down and come back up, gone down and come back up. Right now, they are up like never before, and they are one of the number one powerhouses in the world. And a lot of people give them negative reviews, this and that, and but they're really doing quite well. And they even have their own TikTok. And if you can get on their TikTok, just Google China TikTok, you will see what they're doing on TikTok. And if you see what they're doing on TikTok, oof, they're even here in Sosua, and they're so smart, and they're in the Dominican Republic, and they even, during like commercials that come on TV, their songs that come on TV, a lot of them are singers now, a lot of young Chinese teenagers and stuff, and they sound so amazing. They speak Spanish just like a Spanish person, just like a Dominican. When you go into China Tienda over here, the same store that I told you about before, that it's very difficult for Haitians to buy from, but Haitians work there, and very difficult for even some Dominicans to go there and do a shopping spree. They may go in and get a few choice items. You go in there, the owners are Chinese, and they speak to you in Spanish, and they speak Spanish like nobody's business, and they are serious business people. China, they don't go around, Chinese don't go around and colonize. They don't go from country to country to country to colonize at all. They don't try to make, Sosua here, for instance, act or speak Mandarin. They couldn't care less at all. They don't colonize. They are industrial. They go around from country to country in the world to do commerce. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. They stick to themselves, their own autonomy. They have their own food. They have their own culture. They hold fast to that, and they mind their own business. And they're not trying to force people to take on their culture. They're not colonizing. But then you have people like North America, America and Canada. I'm Canadian, so again, I'm not putting down North America. The West. I love the West. I would never ever sell them short, but they do colonize. They go to another country and they try to make that country adhere to the rules of the American North. The West type of rules. But China does not do that. China has always been commerce, even way back in the day. China was in Africa from time, and they were always trading goods, herbs and spices and minerals and certain resources that they can, help build each other's empires. But, obviously, you have Russia and you have China, and they're both powerhouses. And now you have India. India is growing right now. India is growing, and I've always wanted to go to India. I grew up with around a lot of Indians, and also Sri Lankans and Pakistanis and everything. Not that they're all the same, so I'm not trying to put them all in one bunch. They are very different. India has a very different religion than Pakistan. Pakistanis are, Islamic, and, you have Indians, different, completely different values and everything. But all I'm saying is that India right now is building up, and we will be very surprised in the near future how much it's going to build up. And these are very old countries, very old countries. And America is just like the little brother biting at the heels of all of these guys. So we do have to make sure that we watch more than just CNN. I don't even watch CNN. It's a joke. Don't like, we have to watch more. Like I said, India, India Today, Russia Today, also China in Focus. These are three that you can. India Today, Russia Today, I don't think they have a web. I don't think they're on YouTube. I don't think they're allowed to be on YouTube. But India Today is, and they speak in English. All these places, everyone that I'm telling you, they speak in English. So there's no reason why you don't go on there and get the real deal Holyfield. Also on TikTok, just go on TikTok and put hashtag Ukraine, and you will see that people from Ukraine will be talking about stuff because they do have the internet still going on there. People are fleeing. I heard 10 million people left Ukraine. People are fleeing. There's a lot more building up to do, even if Ukraine does take back some of the places. I've heard 5 places they've taken back. I have to get up to speed on that. But even if they do take back those places, that's not going to do anything for them right now, because to rebuild those cities that have just been reduced to rubble is pretty much going to be nothing, So I do feel right now that the world is in chaos. We are already in a recession. They're lying to us. They're telling us that it's only inflation. It's not. We are already in a recession. It's that much is clear. The crash is about to happen. So for people that make very little bit of money, and if your dream has always been to make a lot of money, then start investing right now. Get a little bit of money, put it aside, a few $100, and invest in silver, and also gold if you can. Gold's a little bit more expensive, but invest in silver for sure, and also crypto. You may be asking what crypto. Ethereum's good, but get there's coins. The whole entire Ethereum is changing over now. Okay, and it's proof of stake, not proof of work, right? Hold on, I don't want to bore you guys with all this, by the way. Let me see. You guys, clearly I love this topic. Let me see. Dennis, what about CNN? Is that credible? No. And our goodie, we are definitely getting a lot of propaganda. Absolutely. Henry, VPN. Yes, virtual private network. That's it, guys. Get it. Jackie says, who controls the chips controls the world. You got it. Taiwan and China's going to go in. Dennis says, we need to know if we can trust what CNN is reporting. Not at all. Don't trust them. Don't trust them. They're getting paid to lie. Our goodie, why doesn't that company move to the US and make the chips? Because that will be World War III for sure. Jackie, that's a good question. I'm going to get to that. Jackie says, our goodie, because the cost of labor. Jackie says, you hit the nail on the head, Cerise. We always try to change countries. Our goodie, Jackie, truth. Yeah, the cost of labor. Yes, but you know what? People in Taiwan get paid very, very well. Because it's China, and they are wealthy. The Chinese are so wealthy right now. Well, Taiwan's not China, but it's part of the same type of cluster, right? But they get paid so well right now. Chinese are so rich right now that if they brag about their riches, they will be put in jail. That is, they are not allowed to even go on the internet and brag. They are not allowed to go on the internet and show what they have. But if you just do a little bit of research, and if you just see some of the rich Chinese kids on TikTok, TikTok is where you're going to see it, then you are going to see the money that they have. So they're getting paid very well. They're not sweatshops any longer the way they were way back in the day when China first agreed to become the factory of the world. Now, China doesn't want to be the factory of the world any longer because they're so completely polluted from all of the factories and everything. So that's why they're trying to purchase places like in India, on the the shores in Africa, and places where they can go and outsource some of the factory work in order for Hong Kong not to stink the way it stinks right now. And it's very polluted, but they do get paid good money. Now, the reason why America cannot go into Taiwan and take these chips is because, first of all, Taiwan's not going to have it. They don't want to be American. They are a powerhouse in and of themselves, even though they're so tiny. But the reason why is because America will cause a nuclear war. Nobody can go in and take that. America's not powerful enough. I know that sounds like what to a lot of Americans, because you guys, you live in an empire, but they're definitely not as strong as China. And I know it sounds crazy, right? But they're just not. They're not even as strong as Russia. America is very broke right now. They have absolutely no oil. When the oil started to rise up, the reason why it started to rise up is because they didn't have any. And people are like, well, America has reserves. No, America has certain machines that they don't know if there's actual oil down below. And digging will cost a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of manpower just to find out that there's no oil. Now, you may say to yourself, well, what about fracking? Fracking is where you go and you dig into the earth's crust where there's a little bit of oil, and you put a little bit of chemical with it and you create an oil. And that could be done. But then years later, it destroys the earth completely, and they don't know what that would do to America many, many years later. It may be not even able to be lived on some of those lands. So they have to be very careful. And Biden went to Iran and he asked Iran, he said, hey, like with the war going on right now, do you think you can give us some oil? Like, we'll buy it from you. They didn't even answer the phone. Like, they didn't even talk to Biden. They were like, no, we're not dealing with you. Sorry, that's not going down. And so they had no choice but to raise the prices. And now the prices are going to continue to rise. And not only that, they're going to have to try to keep people in the house a little bit more. I'm not saying there's going to be another lockdown, but they're doing other things like housing market. They're trying to make the interest rates go up so high so people won't buy as much. They want, prices to go up so high so people don't use as much gasoline. They're trying to stop people from buying products. So they have to make the products go up so high in order for people to stop consumption. And when they stop consumption as much, because there's a lot of greed in the world, right? People want this, they want that. I mean, all of us, we want more than what we need. And so, they're trying to stop human greed in order to maintain certain amounts of spending and also to save certain amounts of oil, because oil is what makes the world go around. And America, the empire it is, really should have switched over to solar a long time ago. I know it's easier said than done, especially in a city like New York. I was saying 10 years ago, how in the world are they supposed to get to all those cabs? So many taxi cab drivers, they rely on that as their income. A lot of people cannot just go buy a brand new car, or solar is just so different, so a lot of people are going to be in the future losing their jobs. A lot of people are going to be going through ups and downs. There's got to be a lot of changes, and they're just not implementing it quickly enough. I don't know what Biden's doing. I don't know why Biden is in office. He obviously got put in there in order to just, I don't know the word to put there, but in order to maybe give Americans some type of hope. And they were probably thinking that he'd be able to hold it down a little bit, but he just is having a very difficult time doing that as well. And, America is not necessarily looking like a joke, but Americans are starting to worry, so it is tight right now around the world. My advice to everyone, is to invest in silver. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't want you to think that, but I do want you to know that the changing of the guards is happening right now. And when times like this happen, recessions, it just means that everyone is pretty much at par. And when the markets crash, that means they're very low. Buy low. Don't buy high because they can crash and you lose all your money. But when the markets are low, buy low and you have nowhere else but to go up. When they hit rock bottom, get in there because you can buy and other people can buy. And you'll be able to at least get something. The very wealthy people will be dumping off all of everything because they're not going to know what's going to make money when the markets go back up again. But for sure, what will make money is, again, silver and gold. Gold is, and copper. Copper is important as well. Copper in some products are replacing gold. Okay. And so I would just say, like, you guys just really do your own research. Again, stay away from CNN. It is a farce. They are jokes. My whole intuition and my gut when I'm watching them, I get like a burning sensation. It's just so much lies. You can just see through it. And they work for the American government, and they are just to keep the people quiet. Just like when the world closed down, they didn't want to let anyone know that it was actually happening in October. And what they did was they told everyone it's happening in January with the whole world closing down thing. I can't say the name because YouTube is, sensitive about that word, and I don't want them to flag this. But it was going on in October. December, people were getting sick. So they told everyone in January, February, and then March is when they closed everything down. They waited a few months to tell everyone because they didn't want worldwide craziness going on. They wanted to at least get it a little bit under control and then bam, close everything down. So, can you guys hear the kid crying next door? Sorry. But that's exactly what happens. So they use places like CNN to calm the minds. And so people will be like, oh, no, that's not happening. CNN said it. Right. And any of those news places you can't rely on. But again, India today, in China, China in focus, and then online itself, Russia today. And there's the other one. It starts with a G. I think it's called Gravitas or something of that nature. Gratis or something like that. Something, but it's an Indian based internet. It's right on the internet, YouTube channel, and it is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love the main news anchor. I love her. She's just so gangster. She's like, she'll start out the whole newscast and she'll be like, so what's America going to do now? Biden has lost his mind. He doesn't have Canada because Trudeau is on a whole other rant. And she just goes in, and it's just so unorthodox. It's just so raw, real deal, and it's so funny. So I would encourage you guys just to watch her. She's pretty amazing. And anyway, guys, here I am going off on this whole tangent. I love talking about the world. I love talking about politics, although I'm not a politician. I'm not a financial advisor. I love business, and I do love to see people rise. So I'm going to reiterate it all again. Get invested in silver. The markets are crashing right now. Don't expect your money to go up. When it comes to crypto, Ethereum is a good place to put your money into. Any of those Ethereum coins are usually pretty good. Hex right now, HEX is a good one. It seems to be pretty solid, but we just don't know really at this moment with everything crashing. But I'm that person where I'm like, just go to what is the powerhouses, because we can say at the end of the day, anything that once was a powerhouse has the ability to become a powerhouse again. And those are like places like, when you think about it, big countries like Russia and Germany and also China. They've all been in rubbles before, but they build back up again. So Bitcoin, even though it has a lot of negative flack around it, and it's not something that I'm heavily invested in, although I am invested in it, I'm just not heavily invested in. I do believe they will somehow make their way back up again, especially, and then Ethereum. The reason why Ethereum is such a major place right now is because they're not going to be using as much gas for transferring your money, your coins, your crypto. Before, when you buy crypto, the reason why it would be so expensive if you wanted to go from one coin to the next is because you would have, like, for example, 10 people working on that transfer for you, and then there's just so much what they call gas is using electricity, and so many people are trying to come to the same transfer exchange for you so you can change your money over. It's like changing your money from dollars to pesos. Imagine that you're not going to the bank to do it, but you're like sitting on a corner and there's 10 people at one time trying to do for you this exchange. And then you're like, okay, it's going to be expensive because you have to pay each one pretty much. They're all using energy in order to make this exchange for you, right? But now it's changing over and they're using it differently. And it's going to be, pretty much cheaper. It's not going to be 10 people trying to do this transfer for you. It'll be one person that has that assignment to do that transfer. So it's going to cost less. And Ethereum is on that right now. So that's why it's probably better to get with Ethereum right now. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, definitely not a crypto advisor, not into any of that type of advising, but I do understand business. And I think that you guys that are watching this, you guys can get yourself into some serious money, especially if you just buy something low and then hold it. Don't do anything else with it. Let it sit for a few years. Get something like not a lot of money, don't go spend a lot of money, a couple of $100. If you have like $1,000 sitting around and you don't know what to spend it in, then just get yourself like, maybe about 400 Ethereum, maybe 400 Bitcoin, and just sit on it. Just sit on it and don't do anything else. And then the other 200, just put it in something that is, off the cuff, like some other coin that you did your own research on and seem to like. Hex again is a good one. But and that's not a lot of big money that I'm talking about. I know some people that are putting in tens of thousands right now because they know that the market's going to build back up. And so I'm not saying spend all your money in crypto either, but I am saying if you're going to do something, silver and gold are usually the things that bounce back quite well because they are not based upon money, paper. They're based upon real commodities. So guys, I talked and talked and talked. I guess what I really want to say today is the working girls, they have some stories and they're coming at me, and the stories are going to be coming out every Wednesday. It's going to be Diary of a Working Girl, and it's going to be how they got into that profession and what their life was like. And it's a whole build up from when they were younger up to now, if they're still in the streets, or to how they got off them. And then, of course, on Saturdays is going to be the dark side of a working girl, where they are very intricate stories about some really unbelievable things that are happening. And not all the stories are happening now, and not all the stories, will be happening in the future. It's just some of them are past stories, and some of them are just interesting to hear, interesting to share. All right, guys. Okay, so let me see here before my battery runs out. What else we got going on here? Dennis, it sounds to me like I've been getting fed a bunch of lies by watching CNN, 100%. And then Jackie says, for a false sense of security. That's it, Jackie. And then, oh, yes, Henry, Graphitis, live. You got it. Graphitis. I think they have a main channel called Orion or something like that. But graffitis, I love them so much. They're my favorite news channel ever. They're right on YouTube. They're so good. Like they just bring it and they don't care because they're not working for America, and they're India. And so they just say it how it is. And I love it. And they give you the news from all around the world and they get it. And they are not trying to hold back. They talk about everything. Pakistan and everything, like the Pakistan president. I'm pretty sure he has not been taken out yet. I'm surprised he hasn't been taken out, little things like that. But you guys will get the insight of world news, the insider edition of the world news, and unfiltered, uncensored, just straight goods. And it will help you make better decisions with your future, help you make better decisions with your businesses, help you understand how money really is not even real money, how crypto is becoming the new type of currency, and then also how it's important for you to make decisions based upon reality and not what's being fed to you, as what Jackie just said, a false sense of security. Okay, guys, so really keep your heads up, keep smart, and just keep moving along. There's a lot that's they're going to feed you guys more and more closer to more of the crash. Remember, they didn't even tell us about the C word until it was like they had to, right? But it was already going around. How many people here alone thought they had it in October, November, and so they're not going to tell us about the crash until it's actually crashed. But we can see the reflection of it in the housing market. We can see the reflection of it in just the federal bank. The federal bank brought out all the interest rates. There's just so much going on, and you guys don't have to do a lot of research to figure it out. Just go on Graphitis, I think it's called again, and just watch a few episodes. Just watch it for like about a week, and you'll get the essence of what's really going on in the world. Watch China in Focus, because China in Focus, even though they're Chinese anchors, news anchors, they're giving you the whole deal. They're telling you everything. And then also India Today. India is rising up. India is doing very well. These are very old countries. These are very, very old systems that know how to take a licking and keep on ticking. America has not crumbled yet. America has not crumbled yet, and they're holding on strong. They've tried to colonize the world. They've tried to go to every place and colonize, but they couldn't do it to China. China locked everyone out. China said, no, you're not coming in here. Sorry, that's not going to happen. And they tried to do it in Iran because they went there clearly for the oil, but they couldn't do it. Palestine, they went everywhere and they tried to get something and tried to colonize, but it's just impossible to change people that have been the same way, and it's their culture for centuries. You can't. Colonization is not a cool thing to do. And the more that we become an intelligent people, like because we have the internet and we become more of like a one mind, we start to realize that, yeah, that's not cool at all. You cannot do that. And the more we start to advance to AI, artificial intelligence, the more we are going to start to realize that, human beings are going to be changed completely in the future. I mean, we're so vulnerable. We step outside and we can get hit by a car and die. Nothing. There's people that can, get hit by a car and then they're forever paralyzed. That will change in the future. That will have to change in the future, where they will be able to put robotic things in people. I got hit by a car 12 years ago, and right here I have a scar where this tattoo is. And I got 10 screws in a plate 12 years ago. And now recently my arm has been hurting me, not as much. I mean, I can deal with it, but I've been praying very much every single day for it to not that it's just maybe pain because I'm sleeping on it a lot, or maybe it's just pain because it's getting to that wear and tear. The screws in the plate are still in there. I've never taken them out. And I'm thinking that maybe I need to go get them taken out or whatever, but that's where my brain is now. But I do know that that's even primitive. Imagine I'm walking around with plate and screws in my arm. That's so primitive, I mean, even when it comes to killing animals, one day in many centuries from now, people are going to look back on our society and be like, they used to kill animals and eat them. They are cannibals. They'll look at us as cannibals because it's a society of butcher, a society of, where what we need for protein and minerals and stuff of that is not to sit down and eat a big steak as much as delicious as it is for some people, especially meatitarians. It's not going to make sense to the AI, to the artificial intelligent humans in the future. And I don't mean real robots, I mean hybrids. There's going to be people who not even going to want to eat. Obesity will be a thing of the past because people will get infused food for energy and stuff. And I'm going way, way, way into the future, way, way into the future, where they're going to look back on us. Like I said, today they will look at us and be like, oh my gosh, they were barbaric, like how we look at Neanderthals and how we look at, the cavemen back in the day. Like we look at them as they were barbaric, but that's exactly how the future is going to look at us. Like we're barbaric. So we still have so much to advance in. But right now, as it is, there's going to be a crash. And the crash is for the people who are the common man, because it's a negative for the very wealthy people, because they will lose a lot of their investments. So they have to take their money out of their stocks right now. They have to take their money out and put it in other places like real estate, things that they can just hold their money in and hope that it's going to make money in the future. Right? But who's to say? So that's why when everything crashes, the common man, so to speak, can get in there and get their investments. They can afford investments now because the investments are so expensive when they're high. But when they crash, they're low. So the average person can invest and sit on it and pray and hope and wait for it to build again. So again, we have so much growth to do as human beings. We have so much growth to do as a society. We have so much going on that, a lot of that is being blindfolded on the average humans, on the average working people, the average people that are not really average. Everyone that's watching this and everyone that's going to watch this, they are not average. They are the only reasons why society actually can work the way it's working, because of the people that do their 9 to 5, because of the people that do, create products and create services and, stuff of that nature. And that's what makes the world go round. So why are they considered average? Not at all. They are people that are responsible for helping to make society what it is in positive sense, in a very positive sense. So of course those people should capitalize as well. Of course those people should be given the opportunity at certain times, like how we have that time coming up right now, to invest and be able to sit on it. There's going to be a lot of things that are coming out in the future. I can remember when I was in high school, we have Bell Canada in Canada, Bell Canada Bell Canada home phones back in the day. I went to high school with a very wealthy young man, and I I asked him. Well, he was a few years older than me. We were in an adult school. We were taking courses and stuff of that nature, but it was like high school because I had my daughter when I was 17. So, I had to leave school for a moment. And then I had to go back to school when my daughter was born. So I did like fast track. So I went to a school and there was other adults in there. And so this guy was like a pampered dude, a little bit older than me. And he was also going through high school too. And it's because he was so pampered that he didn't want to go through school. But his grandmother told him that he had to go to school. Now, he was very wealthy. And I asked him, I was like, how did your family become so wealthy? We were in economics class at the time. We were learning about business because I took this as well, economics in high school, and then also after that, college and a different level, higher level. And anyway, he said to me that one day there was someone going around from door to door, and they knocked on his grandmother's door or his great grandmother's door. I don't remember. And they said to her, hey, there's going to be a new product coming out, and it is called a telephone. And it's going to be a way that you can talk on the phone in your own privacy of your home. At this time, she would have to go down to the post office and they would have to get operators to make their phone call for them and stuff. You know, the thing you put to your ear and you talk through the mouth part, right? So that's what it was. And she was like, what? Private phones in the home? And she's like, oh, I don't believe in that. And they said, well, listen, if you want to sign up right now, right here, and you can invest. And she was like, okay. She invested 25 cents back in the day. 25 cents. She was a housewife. She was a homemaker. And her husband was selling things like he was a salesman. And she was a homemaker. And she invested 25 cents. Many years, I got goosebumps. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps every time I remember this story. Many years later, she didn't even remember about that investment. And then when she got a little bit older, she she remembered because these telephones started to become big and big and big. And so she said to her son, she's like, I have these papers and I wonder if we can get any money from this. And he said, oh, let me check it out. Bell Canada, you invested in Bell Canada. Okay, well, let me check it out. And he went and he checked it out and they were millionaires. I'm filled with goosebumps all the way up to the top of my head. They were millionaires. So if there's anything that you guys ever, and you never know what God's going to place in your lap at any time, whatever opportunity to come to you. Now, I'm not saying be a fool and, fall for something that's glittering and isn't gold. I'm not saying that. So use your mind, use your proper common sense. But this woman, she's like, okay, there's already telephones and it probably wouldn't be anything to put wires in, and she didn't invest too much. It's not like she went and broke the bank. So she invested what she could without missing the money, and because she knew it was something that seemed logical. Right? So if there's something that's brought across your table and it's an opportunity that seems logical and you don't have to invest too much and it's not going to break your bank and it's not going to be amount that you're going to lose, definitely invest. And that's the time to do it now. So something, do your research. Hex cryptocurrency, Ethereum. These are things that we know are of the future. Digital currency. It's going to be something of the future. It already made people money, right? So now there's another flow coming in now for people to make money. I can't tell you how many people I know here in Sosua that are around their mid 30s that they contacted me for their homes. They contacted me for everything. There's one guy, very nice guy, and he put his mom up in an apartment. I don't want to say his name and I don't want to say her name, but I just saw her the other day. I'm talking to, if you happen to watch this video, I just saw her the other day at Goddess in Cabarete, and she's still living in the same apartment 2 years later, and he paid the rent for 1 whole year straight at this beautiful condo in Cabarete. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be buying up things. I already know another guy as well who's only 35, and he bought land after land here, and he's not building anything. He is not interested in building anything, but he bought land in Sosua. He bought land in Cabarete. He bought land in Montellano. He bought land in Puerto Plata. And he's buying land because he's going to let it mature. And then when everything, and he's only in his mid 30s, right? So imagine when Sosua changes, imagine when all these places here change. It's the number one destination in the Caribbean. So obviously it's going to continue that way because we are building here every day. Imagine how those pieces of land are going to just mature. You don't have to build at all. You just sell it. You flip the land because even there's pieces of land right now in Montellano that is being sold for $50 a meter. You can buy 500 meters and you have a piece of land and you don't do anything to it. You just leave it alone. You get the deed. You don't even need to come here. You can buy it online. You can buy it through me and you just buy it. And that's it. It's yours. It just sits there. And at least you have a piece of land in the number one destination in the Caribbean. And you never know, you sell it in the future. Now is the time. It is the changing of the guards. And Russia going to war is the first indicator of that. Russia is not allowing America to come to their doorstep. They are not allowing Ukraine to take back anything. Ukraine is going to be a mark on the map that once used to be a country, unfortunately. That's my prediction. And it's just, I don't know how they're going to rebuild without the help of other countries. But America can't help them right now. And anybody else cannot go in there either. That's it. And, so we have to really look at the changing of the guards. And if there is a worldwide crash in the economy, then that means that there's going to be some countries like India that are rising right now. And bam, before we know it, they're just going to move in and become brand new empires again. How it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. That's an old saying. Everything is like a cycle of life. Tomorrow I'm bringing out a video for Motivation Mondays on my channel, and it's like a cycle of life. We have birth, life, death. Everything how it was in the beginning, it's going to come back again full force. So of course China is ready to rise. Of course Russia is ready to rise. Russia had their day of being down in the dumps and having to buy bread. Like Russians now are so wealthy, so wealthy. They have had their day of their dog days. Now they are oligarchs. Now they are people that are billionaires. The average people were billionaires, and that's exactly what you guys can do right now, so do it. Don't sit on it. Don't think about it. But also don't be foolish with it either. Don't, just jump on anything and then regret it. Use your mind, use your research, use your money wisely, and invest in things that that are going to mature and you can sit on, and not look for an overnight get rich quick scheme. Those get rich quick schemes, those pyramid schemes, all that stuff are just garbage. Like they really are. Anything that you don't put a lot of work into is probably just going to be written on water. It's just going to go away like a wave, right? So, be smart with it. There's something right now. I'm always investing in something. I'm always trying to do something. Right now I just created a brand new online store called tomathis.com. I've been adding it to the back of a lot of my videos. Toma this, water bottles with crystals in it, because a lot of people are healthy now. This is something that I'm doing online because I can't send all the products from here with just a little bit of orders. So I have to get big orders because to send things from here is very expensive. So I'm looking for people that want to come on board with me and that want to do some online marketing and sell products with me. This is not something that I can do on my own. And also, again, real estate here. We have to all work together in order to make money together. That's all what it is. We need to hold each other's hands, advise each other, and come together as people in a group. And that's how things work. That's how we build. We can only do so much alone. We can only get so far alone. But sometimes having a partner, encouragement, it will get us a little bit farther. Let me see any messages before I let you guys go. Jackie, see you in a couple of months. Yes, baby girl, for sure. Drinks and dinner on us. Oh, I love you, baby. Wallace says, good afternoon, Cerise. We'll contact it on Tuesday and make plans about a ride from Santiago. Talked to you a few days ago. Okay, sounds good. From Santiago, I do need a little bit of a heads up. I'd buy at least a few days, and then we can do that. But yeah, guys, so the changing of the guards is coming. Make sure you get invested, make sure you stay smart, and you don't know what the future will hold for you. I'm pretty sure that it's going to hold a lot of brightness for all of us. And those of you who are very well invested right now, and those of you who do have a lot of wealth right now, and you're nervous, don't make silly decisions by, switching too much money up on this and that. Keep your money in your real estate. Keep your money, invested in certain things. Remember, the bank is going to break, and keeping your money in the bank is not always the most logical thing to do as well. Saving money is not the most logical thing to do as well. Investing it at this moment is the thing to do. So if you're very well invested already and you're scared and you're nervous, just again, I'm not a financial advisor. You might know more than me when it comes to all of this. But right now, don't get antsy or anxious, and don't look for the next big thing. You might be invested right now in the best thing, and just because it's falling, it doesn't mean it won't go back up. Okay, guys? I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who stayed with me throughout this whole entire video, thank you so much. I love you guys. I always say I'm going to hop on quick and just talk about a couple of topics, but I always end up staying on for like almost 2 hours. And that's just because I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. Keith says, ciao. Bye, Keith. Oh, you're still here, sweetheart? Aw. Brampton in the house. Brampton is a place in Toronto. Well, not Toronto, but in Ontario. It's one of the GTA places. So, Keith, I look forward to seeing you soon. Keith, aren't you going to Mexico soon? Is it Mexico you're supposed to go to? I think it's Mexico. And then you said you're going to come here afterwards, right? Let me see. Okay. Well, you have a good trip. When are you leaving for Mexico? October? November? Let me see. I think you're going very soon. November. That's right. See? I pay attention. So good. Have yourself a wonderful time. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk before November. But again, you guys, as I wrap up, I do want to tell you guys, when it comes to Haitians and Dominicans, whatever you have, you can come here and share. Bring it. Even if you don't have anything, because you're not a person that has a lot, you're a minimalist, you don't have a lot of secondhand clothes or anything of that nature, and you don't really have a lot of funds yourself, then when you're here, at least buy some of their products that they have here, and go to their restaurants that they have here. Dominicans, they have a lot of wonderful restaurants here, so go into the areas like where I live, and don't be afraid to rent places like in the average areas. Okay. You don't need to be in a gated community. And also, when you do go shopping in the places where Dominicans and Haitians are working, give them a tip. Always tip nicely, and be fair. Okay? Guys, mwah. Or this is how we do it here in the Dominican Republic. Mwah. And I love you. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses. And you guys have a wonderful week. Make sure you look out for my video tomorrow for Motivation Mondays. I'm giving you guys a message there. Tuesdays, I'm going to be putting out some real estate. And then also Wednesday is going to be Diary of a Working Girl. Thursday, more real estate. Friday, probably more. No. Thursday is going to be real estate. Yeah. Friday's supposed to be Fitness Friday. A lot of you guys have been asking me to do a fitness update on myself, and I'm pretty sure I can do that this Friday. That means I'm going to have to do a whole exercise video and a whole cooking video, but if I can get that done this week, I definitely will. If not, I'll put out a different video. But then, of course, Saturday is Dark Side of a Working Girl, and then next Sunday, I'll be doing a live to air, hopefully. And I would like to do it from out and about, but today I didn't go out and about because it's just an overcast day. Initially wanted to do it by the pool, but again, overcast. So I would maybe even like to do a beach day next week. So let's see how the weather goes. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video. Mwah.